An all-new 2020 starts right now.
He just kept stabbing and stabbing. I remember trying to defend myself like this with my hands, and that's where I got the cuts on my hands.
Jason was confronted by the assailant. Someone came into their apartment, had assaulted him and his roommate.
Because she was stabbed so many times, you think, this is personal. This is someone who wanted her dead.
When you go into her apartment, what is the scene like?
You could tell that there was a struggle in there. She fought hard.
Jonna went door to door trying to get assistance.
At one point, I was praying. It wasn't her.
They had made a mistake. Now, revisiting the scene of a nightmare.
He pushed me back this way, and I fell on the bed like this. I took off, and I ran as fast as I could this way.
Did it trouble you that he ran away from the scene to get help instead of trying somehow to help her?
He's scared. He wants to get away.
So he ran from here over this way to the convenience store.
I didn't have anything to do with this. I had something to hide. Why would I take this test?
I believe that's next to Warren House, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm Officer Dinah Kidd. I work for the Knox County Sheriff's Department. It was around 4:15 a.m. on the night of December 6th. It was real windy that night. We didn't have a lot of calls coming in. We felt like we were wrapping up our night because it was only a couple more hours till we'd get off.
8791.
And then we get the dispatch call that says there's a young man that had ran to the Weigels.
1080 with the victim just occurred at Weigels, 328 North Cedar Bluff. Time. Stand by for update.
It's early morning in December when the clerk inside this convenience store gets a startling visitor. A young man who's bloody, pleading for help. He's barefoot and appears to have been seriously injured.
Knox County 911.
Yes, Mr. Weigels, remember at Cedar Bluff Road?
Mm-hmm.
There's a man that just walked in the store. He was heavily bloodied. Looks like he's been in a fight.
A gentleman had called in from the Weigels on Cedar Bluff and stated that he had been attacked.
When he ran up to the Weigels, he had blood all over his clothing as he entered into the gas station. He had a stab wound to his face. He had cuts on his hands. He was stabbed in the chest. So he did have obvious signs of trauma on his body.
Does he need an ambulance?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay, can I talk to him, please?
Sure, he wants to talk.
All right, what's your name?
Jason Amami.
Jason?
Amami.
Now what happened?
I just felt somebody stab me right in my chest.
Somebody stabbed you?
Me in my face. And that's the first thing I did was get up and run.
He'd heard some noise. He came outside. He came out into the hallway, and he had seen someone in the hallway, which then came to him and attacked him. He eventually got away from the attacker, and Jason had ran out the door.
He had on clothing that he was sleeping in, which was just a pair of shorts.
He had left so abruptly that he didn't even take time to get his glasses or his shoes before leaving the apartment. He just ran out as quickly as possible to flee and get help.
And while Jason Amami tells the clerk that he was able to get away, shockingly, he says he wasn't alone in that apartment.
His roommate's still in there. Apparently somebody broke into his house.
Is his roommate okay?
He doesn't know. Is he okay?
She was screaming very loud.
Now, where's your address at?
Redora Road.
Redora?
R-H-O-D-O-R-A.
R-H-O?
Park Apartment.
When the call came out, we then went to the apartment complex to check on the girl and kind of see what we could find there.
21-year-old Jonna Berry is barely clinging to life.
They found Jonna laying just inside an entranceway. She was face down and had multiple wounds to her body.
You were one of the first responders here.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you remember about Jonna Berry? What kind of shape was she in?
She was not in good shape. As soon as you opened the door, she was laying in the corridor at the bottom of the steps. Her apartment was at the top of the steps, and she was covered in blood. That it was her hair. She's got beautiful blonde hair, and it stuck with me because at the time I thought she might have red hair because there was so much blood.
Just kind of moaning, making a few sounds, but was unable to talk due to her injuries.
She did have a very large wound on her neck. She also had multiple stab wounds across her body.
Over 25 wounds to her body.
It was very obvious that Jonna had been in a fight for her life and that it was a very violent struggle.
For me, it was one of the worst crime scenes that I have been involved in since being in law enforcement.
When you go into her apartment, what is the scene like?
When we go up the steps and go into the apartment looking for the suspect or anybody else that's injured, the knife was in the floor, and it had blood on it, hair on it, and it was bent.
There were 6 units in the apartment building. There was blood on each of the doors within the 6 units. And we could tell from that Jonna was the person who went door to door trying to get assistance.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not the middle of the night, per se.
One individual thought someone was breaking into his apartment. We called 911.
Knox County 911.
Yeah, we hear a lot of noise outside my apartment. There was a lot of banging on the doors right downstairs. Now I hear some sort of yelling. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone else.
He looked out his peephole of his door.
Do you see anybody outside?
I look out the peephole.
What's your name? Just hang up on me.
She didn't see anyone.
It's because Jonna was crumpled on the ground below that peephole. Absolutely heartbreaking.
Unfortunately, the call dropped and there was no other activity.
Everything we had for Brandon Park Apartment.
Once the residence was cleared and we noticed there's no one else injured in the apartment, we go back down the stairs. I go back to her. So I leaned down and was talking to her, asking her if she knew who done this, if she knew where they went. I was just asking her all kinds of questions, try to help us find out who done this and what had happened. She would move around a little bit, but she couldn't answer me. So by this time, I just kind of held her hand and waited on EMS to arrive.
That night, 2 young people come face to face with an intruder. Jason manages to escape, but Jonna, who was too injured to speak, did not.
We were wondering what led to this horrific tragedy.
The attacker has vanished, the motive unknown.
Are our children safe? Are we safe? We had no idea who did this.
Police launch a full-scale manhunt across the Knoxville community. Inside that foyer, Jonna Berry is still alive, brutally wounded, and struggling to hold on.
I just held her hand and waited on EMS to arrive.
I remember distinctly that it was raining when I got to the scene.
Jonna dies in the ambulance, her fight ending before she ever reaches the hospital. What do you think that may have meant to her or to you to even just be there to comfort her?
I hope it helped her, and to me it would mean a lot if that was my child there.
It was 4 a.m. in the morning on December the 6th we got a phone call from Knoxville UT Hospital. The gentleman on the other end of the phone, he asked to speak to Mike, which was very unusual because nobody called my cell phone and asked to speak with my husband.
She handed me the phone, and there was somebody on there said, "Are you Michael Berry?" And I said, "Yes." "Do you have a daughter, Jonna?" And I said, "Yes." Just to let you know, your daughter was murdered.
I heard him say, "Jonna's been murdered." And at one point, I was praying. It wasn't her.
They had made a mistake.
Yeah. My youngest son lived here, so I called him and I said, hysterically, "It's Jonna. Something's happened. You need to get to UT."
This had to be a nightmare for everybody.
It was. It rained all the way. It was like the angels was just crying.
It's just something that you never forget.
After nearly 4 hours on the road, Jonna's parents finally make it to the hospital.
When we got there, my youngest son was in the parking lot. He said, "It's true, Mama, it's Jonna."
Did you have any idea what happened at that moment?
No. And the boys identified her body, which was very upsetting to me.
She was in bad shape.
Yes. I wish that I could have spared them the heartache and the memory that they'll have forever.
Jonna, smile for the camera, girl.
Hey!
Jonna.
Jonna grew up in a tight-knit family in Bristol, Tennessee. Take me back. Tell me what kind of a little child she was.
Jonna was a very happy child. She was very ambitious. She did dance and cheerleading.
2 older brothers.
She had 2 older brothers. They were very protective of her.
You had a beauty salon, and I imagine she was running around.
Yes, she would get a manicure. I polished her little nails. She always wanted makeup on and her hair done. She was my best friend.
She was your best friend.
She was.
After high school, Jonna heads off to East Tennessee State University, where she gets a degree in child psychology. What was it that she aspired to? What were her aspirations?
She wanted to devote her life to children. She wanted to help them in any way she could.
As Jonna grows older, her dreams for her future grow bigger, and she meets her fiancé, Jason White.
Jonna got engaged when she was 20.
Kind of young.
It was young, but she knew what she wanted, and she worked hard to get it.
Jonna loves children, and that passion leads her to Knoxville, where she begins working toward a master's degree in child psychology. Most here consider this a safe slice of America, next to the Tennessee River. About 35 miles away, you'll find Dollywood, nestled in the Great Smoky Mountains. She's going to school, she's moving, about to get a new degree. That's a lot.
But she was so ambitious. She was constantly on the move.
How does she go about finding a place to live?
She was in the process of looking for an apartment, but we hadn't found the exact thing, so she stayed with a friend from college. She rented a bedroom.
That friend was Jonna's roommate, Jason Amami.
I'd known Jason for a couple years prior, when she was in college.
He was somebody you were familiar with?
Yeah, we knew him, and he was a good friend. It was just a temporary thing.
Were you at all questioning or concerned about Jason Amami?
Jason was stabbed also, but Jonna's brothers and her dad wondered why Jason didn't help her.
And police have their own questions. They sit down for the first of several interviews with Amami.
He was able to explain to us that he woke up in the middle of the night because he heard a scream. Jason knew that Jonna did have nightmares, so at first he assumed that she could have just been having a nightmare. But as he got up, he noticed that there was a male figure backing out of Jana's bedroom.
Jason was confronted by the assailant. He was stabbed about 6 to 8 times.
At that point, Jason didn't hear any more screams for Jana. He wasn't sure if she had escaped the apartment or not. He just ran out as quickly as possible.
You have an initial reaction to any attack, and that's going to be fight, flight, freeze.
To unravel the mystery of Jana Berry's murder, police zero in on a critical piece of evidence found at the scene.
When officers go inside the apartment, they see so much blood, it's everywhere. Then they see a bloody shoe print.
A single shoe print soaked in blood. Could this be the clue that unmasks the killer?
Jana was funny, charismatic, intelligent. She just had this aura about her that just drew people in. Who would want to hurt somebody that was so pure?
Christmas was Jana's favorite time of year, her family says. And just hours before the murder, she and her mom were on the phone talking about picking up gifts for the holidays.
I said, I did some Christmas shopping today, and she said, oh, I did too. We talked a little more, and we said good night, and I love you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
The night she died, she had been wrapping Christmas gifts for children.
Jana had them separated, you know, in little piles, they said, with the kids' names on them.
It just seemed so tragic right before Christmas.
Fear gripped the city of Knoxville. A young woman savagely stabbed in her own home, and her killer on the loose.
21-year-old Jana Berry and her roommate were stabbed in their Brendan Park apartment.
It really left the community feeling unsettled.
I'm a news anchor here at WATE in Knoxville, and I have covered the Jana Berry case since the very beginning. This seemed to be a crime out of nowhere. There were so many questions, and people were wondering what on earth is going on.
To this day, Jana's mom, Joan, can't shake the image. Her daughter bleeding, terrified, pounding on doors, and nobody answering. When you heard that she frantically ran asking for help and nobody answered their doors, what did you make of that?
It angered me at first. You know, I can understand someone not opening the door at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, I can understand that. People don't want to get involved. Why couldn't you be more like Jana and want to help people? She would have helped anybody.
Some of the folks in the apartment complex possibly could not have heard the knock on the door due to it being in the middle of the night and the bedroom being located so far away from the front door. Some people, we learned, were not at home.
Detectives begin a full-scale investigation. And there's one thing that is impossible to ignore: the sheer amount of blood in Jana's apartment. How bloody was this crime scene?
There was blood in not only in Jana's bedroom, Jason's bedroom, blood in the living room, blood on the back door, blood out the back of the apartment going down the stairs.
Blood is on the doorknob, blood is on the floor, blood is on the door.
Looked like there had been some type of fight in Jana's bedroom.
This had been a struggle.
Yes, you could tell that there was a struggle in there. You could tell that she fought hard.
Numerous samples of blood were taken from the crime scene. The blood samples were sent to the TBI for analysis. This is the exit that the perpetrator took the night of the crime. We can see that this door is ajar. There's no evidence of a forcible break-in.
Detectives wanted to find out was how the person got into the apartment without no forced entry being there. Was the door left unlocked? Did they have a key? Were they let in?
There was some speculation that Jana had been on the phone with her fiancé, and perhaps the excitement of wrapping the gifts and just having these other distractions that she forgot to lock the door.
Could it have been a friend of theirs that was in the apartment? Was it somebody that had gotten upset with Jason or Jana? So there's a lot of different theories that were being thought about of what could have happened.
Investigators also discover curious items in the apartment, like a hat and a CD case they believe belonged to the killer.
The Atlanta Braves hat, the CD case, all of those things were leading us to believe that someone else possibly had entered the apartment since these things did not belong to either one of the occupants of the apartment.
The murder weapon was discovered in the hallway directly outside of Jana's bedroom.
The knife was in the floor and it had blood on it, hair on it, and it was bent.
The hair that was found on the knife appeared to be from Jana.
We knew right away that the knife came from inside the home. It was part of a matching set that was from the kitchen. What stood out to me the most about the weapon is how damaged it was. The handle was broken, the blade was bent. I could only assume that it had hit bone, that it was used multiple times, that it was very violent just given the force to break the handle.
While the murder weapon reveals a violent struggle, there's a single piece of evidence left on the blade which might point to the hand that held it.
There was a partial fingerprint that was found on the knife. There was an unknown DNA that was found on the knife.
Now that's got to be important because now that's going to be something that's going to lead you to somebody.
Oh yes, very, very important. If we can match a fingerprint or a partial fingerprint to someone, that would help. Our guys photographed it, sent that off to the lab to see if they would be able to get the fingerprint off of there and see if it was in any kind of system or database that they had.
But police aren't finished yet. In Jason's room, they discover a piece of cardboard, and on it, a damning piece of evidence.
There was a very pronounced shoe print. And what stood out about the shoe print the most is that it was in blood.
Detectives also take note of the shocking number of times that Jana was stabbed.
Jana's autopsy revealed that she suffered over 20 stab wounds, some of them to her neck, head, and face, as well as her chest, back, and legs.
She had close to 26 stab wounds.
The nature of the crime, it was a very intimate, personal crime.
It kind of led to maybe thinking it was somebody that knew her, that had gotten mad at her, maybe a crime of passion. So we were looking at people who were close to her.
Because she was stabbed so many times, you think, this is personal. This is someone who wanted her dead. This had to be someone who knew her.
And that's when detectives begin looking closely at the two Jasons in Jana's life. Could one of them know more than he's letting on?
He was following her. We looked at surveillance video, never did come up with anything from the mall. As far as the hospital goes, that was sort of a dead end. It never produced any kind of information either.
Jana had no enemies. You know, nobody ever expressed being angry with her, or she never had any trouble with anybody. We had no earthly idea of who could have done this.
We really focused mostly on her closest circle. The first people that we wanted to clear from Jana's murder were Jason, the roommate, and Jason, her fiance at the time.
The violent nature of the attack, the numerosity of the wounds, all hinted towards some sort of personal relationship that she may have had with somebody
Joan Berry says her daughter met Jason White at a party when they were both students at East Tennessee State University, and the romance moved quickly.
We're very fond of Jason. She got engaged at Christmas, and she couldn't wait to show me her ring.
She wanted more than anything to be his wife and be a mom and raise a child with him and have them grow old together. She was so excited to marry him.
After graduation, Jason moves to Michigan to get his law degree, while Jonna moves to Knoxville to continue her studies.
He was in Michigan, and every night she would go to sleep with them talking. And then when she would go to sleep is when he would hang up.
In speaking with Jason White, he had explained to us that he talked to Jonna that night.
Detectives learned through his cell phone records that his cell phone appeared to be in Michigan the entire time.
No, there was no suspicions in my mind. I had never crossed my mind that Jason White ever did that.
Very quickly within the investigation, Jason White was cleared as a suspect.
Police are also interested in talking to the other Jason in Jonna's life, her roommate, Jason Amami.
So, how are you doing? I am doing good.
Police interview Jason the day after he gets out of the hospital, where he was treated for wounds to his chest, face, and hands.
Once Jonna's fiance was ruled out, all eyes went to her roommate. And one of the first questions investigators asked him was, do you have a romantic interest in Jonna?
As far as your relationship with Jonna, how long have you known her?
I've known her for probably at least over 5 years.
Okay. Did you guys ever date?
No.
Never?
No. I was living in Knoxville and she needed a place to stay, so I said I'd be happy to let you live with me. That wouldn't be a problem.
She's got her fiance.
Right.
This is another guy. What did you make of the arrangement for her to move in with a guy as a roommate?
I was fine with that. I'd known Jason for a couple of years. He was a boyfriend of one of her good friends too. So, and even her fiance, Jason White, he didn't have a problem with it.
He tells Detective Delgado that on the night of the attack, he was watching TV when Jonna decides to go to bed.
She probably went to sleep about 10:30. I probably went to sleep 12:30 around there.
What do you remember after that?
I just remember waking up, hearing screams. I looked at my alarm clock. I believe I remember seeing a 4, so probably at 4 a.m. sometime.
Jason says it's not the first time he's been awakened by Jonna screaming at night.
She sleeps very light. She told me when she first moved in, she said, if I wake up and I'm scared or something, just come in and check on me, make sure I'm okay.
At first, he assumed that she could have just been having a nightmare. But as he got up and he was leaving his room to enter her bedroom, he noticed that there was a male figure.
Next thing I remember is I'm on my bed and he's on top of me. I just remember fighting with him. He punched me in my face. I kept telling him, I was like, what do you want? He just kept telling me, shut up, shut up. And then I felt a sharp pain right here, and that's when I knew he had a knife.
He grabbed the knife to try to get it away from the individual. He kicked the individual in the groin area. The individual went back against the bedroom wall. He saw an opening that he would be able to get out of the bedroom.
At that point, he didn't hear any more screams for Jonna. He wasn't sure if she had escaped the apartment or not. But at that point, he just ran out of the apartment as quickly as possible.
You ran out of the apartment. Did you take anything with you?
I didn't even think about it.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing blue workout shorts, which I wore to the gym, and a pair of boxers.
Okay.
And that's all I was wearing. I just ran straight out the door and right across the street. And I was banging on some of the doors at the other complex.
Investigators zero in on an important point in Jason's story. He came face to face with his attacker, Jonna's killer.
Now, let's just go through what this guy looks like.
He's got short hair, kind of like mine. It's like a brownish blonde color.
He felt confident that he would be able to identify the person, provide a sketch of what this individual looked like.
This is Tom. Tom, this is Jason.
Hey, how's that?
Tom's going to help you with the composite.
Using Jason's detailed description of that attacker, police are able to generate a photorealistic computer composite of their suspect. So he's able to give you some details about what this intruder looked like?
Yes, because he was face to face with that person. So he's really the only living survivor that can give us a description of the individual.
Despite Jason's cooperation, investigators say they still have lingering questions about Jana's roommate.
There was no forced entry, and I think that led investigators to probably focus a little bit more on Jason Amami.
Also, we had to look at the murder weapon came from within the apartment, within their own knife set. So, Jason had access to that. Could he have gotten the knife and used it to commit this crime? Could he have cut his own finger? It'd be pretty hard to stab yourself in the face close to your eye, but we couldn't rule that out.
Is Jason a victim or a suspect? Investigators take him back to the scene of the crime. Will his story hold up?
He just kept stabbing and stabbing. That's at the point to where I noticed he finally had a knife.
The walkthrough was really important for us. Look for inconsistencies regarding what he was telling us about the scene, what happened that night.
And now he's playing at her funeral. How does a family switch gears like that?
You don't have no choice. We had no choice.
But there's an unexpected guest at the funeral. Just 48 hours after he was released from the hospital, Jana's roommate, Jason Amami, attends the funeral. And so do detectives.
There was a lot of chatter about the fact that Jason had run from the scene and leaving Jana there essentially to die.
People thought he had to have some kind of role in this because of his actions or inaction.
Did it trouble you that he ran away from the scene to get help instead of trying somehow to help her?
It did for a while, but now after you have time to process things and really think about it, I thought he was just trying to get out too, because he was attacked.
Detectives want an exact picture of what happened inside Jana and Jason's apartment. With his detailed play-by-play, Jason takes them as close as possible to being in that room when the attack happened.
Date is December 9th, 2004. Time is 15:59.
We had him look around to see if anything was missing, if anything had been stolen or disrupted.
There was an Atlanta Braves baseball cap that was found in Jana's bed. That was not there before, was not owned by Jana, was not owned by Jason Amami.
The partial shoe print on the cardboard, the Atlanta Braves hat, those things were leading us to believe that someone else possibly had entered the apartment.
In the sheriff's office video of the walkthrough, you can see that Jason's wounds from the attack are still fresh and visible. Still, he's able to calmly describe the evening's events in great detail.
I came home from the gym and the door was locked. Jana was sitting right here.
The walkthrough was really important for us to watch his body language, listen to him, look for inconsistencies regarding what he was telling us about the scene, what happened that night.
He tells police the same story he did in his interview the day of the murder. Jonna went to sleep first. He went to bed around 12:30 and then was awakened around 4 a.m.
I heard a scream. I didn't say a word. My door was totally closed to my room. I woke up just from my sleep here, and I remember walking this way.
He says he opened his bedroom door, which was closed. He was confronted by someone.
And he is right there. And I'm still looking down, and I remember doing this and having him face me and grab me like this. And then he pushed me back this way, and I fell on the bed like this.
At first he was confused. He wasn't sure if he was being punched or being stabbed.
He just kept stabbing and stabbing. And that's at the point to where I noticed he finally had a knife. I remember trying to defend myself like this with my hands, and that's where I got the cuts on my hands.
And Jason described pushing them back towards the wall of the bedroom. That information was corroborated by blood smear on the drywall.
Jason says he no longer heard Jonna screaming and didn't know if she had escaped the apartment or not.
I took off and I ran as fast as I could this way.
He said that when he left the apartment, he had to unlock the front door to get out.
And as I ran through here and got the door open, I just ran. I didn't even stop in here. I ran down through here and down these stairs.
So Jonna's roommate goes running from this apartment complex. What route did he take?
Jonna's apartment is located over this way, so he ran out of the apartment complex. He saw a figure off in the distance. He thought it was the person that was still chasing him or looking for him.
Came this way and looked closer at it. And I saw a figure come from behind this little cabana here and kneel down in between one of these bushes here on the other side of the pool. And it was kind of like somebody going like this. Walking like this.
After knocking on doors at a neighboring apartment complex but not getting any help, Jason takes off down the road.
I think the biggest information that we got from the walkthrough was he felt like he was being pursued, and you kind of started to understand how and why he made it all the way to the 24-hour convenience store before he could summon help.
I bolted down to the street, and I got behind the car and started yelling at the door. They didn't even stop. So I remember going just right next to these bushes here. I remember scaling right about this point right here. And then when I got to the door here, I looked inside, noticed the clerk. I got to here, told him to get help.
After that minute-by-minute account that was consistent with his earlier statements, detectives are now less convinced that Jason could be the killer. But is he telling the full truth?
When Jason was confronted by the polygrapher, he became very upset.
Turn your chair around, let's talk. Yeah. Your scores were substantial, Faith. Where am I wrong then? I have told you the 100% truth.
And new physical evidence leads to more questions than answers.
There was Jonna's DNA, Jason Amomey's DNA, and there was an unknown DNA that was collected.
They realize there's a third party that was in that room.
And a twist so wild, not even seasoned investigators could see it coming.
I felt very confident. This has to be our guy.
Why would anybody want to cop to a crime they didn't commit?
Family still looking to track down a murderer tonight, nearly 3 years after their daughter in UT co-ed is killed in her apartment.
What is that like for you as a family to have your daughter murdered and no one arrested for it?
That was the only thing on my mind from morning to night. That's all I could think about.
When it comes to this mother, wanting to find answers. She would stop at nothing.
We need to know who did this to Jonna. We need answers.
We would follow up with the tips that we would get.
Ruling out suspects.
All I'm trying to discover is the truth. And I'll give my point, Jason, that you haven't told it to me. I have told you the 100% truth.
And seeing what's left.
There was an unknown DNA that was collected from several locations inside and outside of the apartment.
Now that's got to be important because now that's going to be something that's going to lead you to somebody. You get the case of Jonna Berry and you're running samples. Give me an idea of how that works.
There's no other person, literally no other person in the world, but you that could have left that sample.
You know what happened to this girl?
Here in Knoxville, we don't have a murder every day. When something like this happened to Jonna Berry, it kind of shook up the neighborhood.
Brendan Park Apartments calls itself a peaceful retreat here in West Knoxville. But one early December morning, that peace was shattered. 21-year-old Jonna Berry had been brutally stabbed in her own apartment.
In a million years, I would never have thought that this would have happened to my daughter.
21-year-old Jonna Berry and her roommate were stabbed in their Brendan Park apartment on December 6th. The roommate who survived was able to call police, but Jonna didn't make it, and her killer is still on the loose.
Based on the description that Jason gave us, we had a composite sketch made.
This is who sheriff's investigators are trying to identify. He's in his 20s, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, 150 pounds.
The thing about the composite, it has some really distinguishing features. Kind of almond-shaped eyes, widow's peak, kind of a blunted nose, but a white male.
If you think you have information that could help the case, you're asked to call the sheriff's office.
Leads were coming in, but leading nowhere. Meanwhile, Jonna's mom turns her grief into frustration. The weeks go by, no arrest. What is that like for you as a family to have your daughter murdered and no one arrested for it?
We called every day. We would call the detectives.
There was that feeling that detectives and the sheriff's office weren't doing enough, when in reality, they were working this every day. There just weren't any answers.
Jonna Berry's family is still upset over a lack of closure.
I can tell you that the 2 detectives assigned to the case were running nonstop, chasing down leads, going through tip lines. All of those things were happening, but the end result wasn't there.
It was very hard for me not to have an answer for Jonna's parents, and speaking with them on a daily basis, letting them know there's nothing new, there's no more leads.
I became so worried that it would become a cold case and we would never get answers. I kept it in the media. I did everything that I could.
You turned your grief into action.
I did. I did.
Yesterday, they were at the track in Bristol. Today, a church in downtown Knoxville.
She called me every time she was doing something different. Hey, we're going to put flyers at the cleaners. Can you come?
Joan used her own money to put billboards all over town, including a heavily traveled stretch of I-40.
We had several billboards with Jonna's pictures, with the picture of the composite on them, and $70,000 reward.
A local grocery store chain had information about seeking help to solve the unsolved murder on their delivery trucks.
We handed out flyers. Family and volunteers put flyers on cars in the neighborhoods around through there.
I don't think I could ever be as strong as Joan. She wouldn't stop. She digs in and she just goes.
That was the only thing on my mind every day from morning to night. That's all I could think about was who would kill Jonna.
While the investigation has made little progress in naming a suspect, things are moving ahead on the forensics front.
Inside Jonna's apartment, there was a very pronounced shoe print in blood.
We ended up sending off the cardboard that the tread pattern was on, and we got information back from that this tread appeared to be this type shoe, Faded Glory. Most have sold at Walmart.
The shoe print ID is the most promising evidence so far, leading detectives to their strongest suspect.
We got a tip a few streets over from the apartment complex that an individual had been involved in some crimes, some thefts, and that led us to an individual named Michael Percival. He lived in a trailer park, probably within a few miles of the apartment complex. When we went into the trailer to talk to him, the carpet cleaner was sitting there next to the living room.
A carpet cleaner isn't necessarily suspicious in and of itself, but what if somebody was using it to clean up blood tracked in on the bottom of their shoe? Detectives ask Percival if they can look at his shoes.
Detective Delgado retrieved the shoes for Michael Percival, and she noticed the tread on those being similar to the tread that were found in the apartment in Jason Amamy's room. She kind of elbowed me and showed me the tread, and we were both kind of like, holy cow, this could really be, you know, the shoes.
I saw Captain Hall, and he said, we've got him. He still had the shoes, Kevin. He still had the shoes. Everything looked like it was lining up for us. Michael Percival was the individual responsible for Jonna's death.
But does the shoe fit?
We can't believe what he's saying. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
And there are more questions for Jason Amamy as his patience wears thin.
100%. I have anything to do with this. Calm down. I'm the manager. I ain't getting out to do that. Calm down. I feel like a suspect.
Detectives Hall and Delgado have just gotten a big lead in Jonna Berry's murder case. They're led to a 19-year-old named Michael Percival. His shoes appear to match that bloody shoe print left behind at the crime scene.
I felt very confident. This has to be our guy.
Both of us were kind of big-eyed.
It was just like, we've got it solved. We couldn't believe that he kept the shoes.
Investigators bring Percival in for an interview. And in a shocking admission, the teenager says he witnessed the murder.
When Michael first admitted to being at Jonna's house, he explained that this was part of a drug deal gone wrong.
He said that he went there with a drug dealer to collect money from Jonna and Jason for drugs that they had purchased. He said that he entered the apartment and this individual that he came with was stabbing Jonna and Jason inside the apartment.
But as detectives keep questioning him, they say his story just isn't adding up.
There was nothing to indicate at all that Jason or Jonna were involved in drugs, so it was very inconsistent with what we knew about the victims.
Jonna was never involved in drugs. She was very straight-laced.
Investigators take a closer look at Percival's shoes that they believe might have been at the crime scene.
We sent those off for analysis, and the analysis came back.
It was not an exact match.
Those were not the shoes. This was another dead end.
Michael Percival was ultimately cleared.
Why would anybody want to cop to a crime they didn't commit?
We learned through the investigation that Michael Percival liked attention.
Now, back at square one, investigators are re-examining the case.
There's this one person detectives keep coming back to, and it's Jonna's roommate, Jason Amamy.
While evidence such as the CDs, a baseball cap, and that bloody shoe print suggest a third person might have been in the apartment, detectives still have questions for Jason.
We wanted to 100% make sure that Jason wasn't involved in this in any way. Even if there was another person involved, that he didn't let them in.
So police ask him to take a polygraph test. He agrees, and the test is videotaped.
Are you ready to take this test? Sure. All right. If you would,
Let me pick up my sweatshirt.
yeah, if you would.
One of the main reasons that we asked Jason to take a polygraph is just simply to see like how cooperative he would be with it.
Do you know for sure who caused the death of John Berry?
No.
Did you have prior knowledge that the person who stabbed Johnny would be at your apartment that night?
No.
But then things take a sudden turn in the interview room when the polygrapher begins to interrogate Jason.
Jason, I want you to listen to me.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're a smart boy, but you did a part on that test.
Did I really?
You really did. Turn your chair around. Let's talk.
Yeah. Why do you think you failed the test? I don't know. I was 100% truthful.
The polygrapher basically started interviewing Jason Amemy and accusing him of being the killer.
But I've been doing this for a long time, and there's something that you have not told me. Did you stab that girl?
No. I did not stab her at all.
Did you get just angry, perhaps, over something that she said or something that happened there?
Never.
And you just lashed out?
Never.
All I'm trying to determine is the truth.
And I'll give
My point is, Jason, that you haven't told it to me.
Where am I lying then? I have told you the 100% true.
It was the first time we really saw Jason react emotionally, in the sense you could tell he was very angered and offended by the question.
Are you saying I did it?
I'm saying it certainly looks like it.
It was confrontational. The polygrapher was not just asking questions, but was essentially involved in a heated interrogation.
100%. I didn't have anything to do with this. I don't care what that box says. I voluntarily took this. If I had something to hide, why would I take this test? Why would I do this? Why would I do this?
Calm down.
I'm getting mad here. I ain't
You
getting
don't
out
need to get mad. Calm down.
I feel like a suspect
Calm
now.
down. Calm down.
He's very, very upset. It took a little bit to get him calmed down.
Police are reviewing Jason's test results when they discover there's an error.
The polygrapher said that he failed the test. When we had two other polygraphers look at the results, they basically said that he passed the test.
Besides passing the polygraph, detectives also aren't able to link that bloody shoe print or partial fingerprint on the knife to Jason, so he's ultimately cleared.
Jason was originally from Colorado, and shortly after, he relocated back to Colorado.
Michael and I traveled to Colorado and visited with him. He answered our questions and had time for us, and I'm sure this has affected Jason's life too.
Jason has not only suffered the trauma of the attack, but he's also facing public scrutiny and innuendo.
Jason was a good kid who got caught up in this and the circumstances of it and made a decision of flight that was involuntary, and took a lot of heat and a lot of flack for that, and has.
Weeks after the murder, a new bombshell development when lab results come back from blood at the crime scene.
There was Johnna's DNA, Jason Amemy's DNA, and there was an unknown DNA inside and outside of the apartment.
Could this DNA belong to the killer? Detectives are racing to find out.
That was the key to getting the person that did this.
Wow, they're going to be able to find who murdered her.
I see memories of Jonna everywhere in the house, right?
Yes. These are Jonna's little baby shoes.
They rest here?
That's where they stay here all the time, yeah.
Even though years have gone by since their daughter's murder,
this is my pride and joy. I love this.
In nearly every corner of every room, mementos of Jonna.
This is Jonna's room. We call it Jonna's room.
Jonna's room.
Still. And I still have her wedding gown.
You still
have her wedding gown.
All these years
after
later.
20 years.
This is it. That's beautiful.
The dress, her wedding gown.
All the beading. Oh, look at the train. Oh.
She looked beautiful in it. Yeah, it's 20 years old. She had picked out a wedding band for Jason, and we bought it. So Jonna's dad wears the wedding band. He wears it every day.
Well, still got it. She worked so hard and did so many things. That was a small gesture.
I'm glad that she got to experience being engaged and planning a wedding.
Weeks after Jonna's murder, investigators still don't have a suspect. But then a break in the case. DNA results have just come in.
There were 3 DNA samples found at the scene: Jonna's, Jason, and an unknown male perpetrator.
The unknown sample, it was found in Jonna's bedroom. It was also found in the living room, and it was found on the back door and outside on the back deck. And we know that they exited out the rear of the apartment because the unknown DNA is not only on the back door, but it leads down the back stairwell. We found no unknown DNA on the front door or leading out the front door.
Detectives also make a key discovery on the murder weapon.
There was an unknown DNA that was found on the knife.
The race is now on to find out who the DNA belongs to.
We thought they're going to be able to find who murdered her.
But after running that unknown DNA through a law enforcement database, investigators get some disappointing news.
The DNA comes back to us. There's no one in the system that comes back to.
They don't know who it belongs to.
It seemed unusual to us that a person would commit a crime with such violence if they didn't have some sort of other violent history.
They ran the DNA and no match.
No match.
While meeting with investigators, Joan learned something else that shocks her.
Tennessee doesn't take DNA if you're arrested for a violent crime, only if you're convicted. I was absolutely shocked, and I even said, wow, well, that needs to be changed.
And that's exactly what Joan does. For more than 2 years, hoping it might lead to her daughter's killer, she pushes for a new DNA law.
I would go to the Capitol and introduce myself and ask them if they would support the DNA law.
We're talking about any violent crime such as murder, rape, even robbery. Those people arrested would have to submit their DNA.
Joan is a fighter, and she rose up like a phoenix.
Jonna Berry was her name, and her parents, Joan is sitting in the back of the chamber here with me today, have been on a crusade.
Well, a victory today for family and friends of murdered UT student Jonna Berry.
I think this is a very important bill for every citizen in the state of Tennessee.
You pushed and pushed, and you got this law passed in Tennessee. You changed the law.
Yes, we did.
Jonna's law.
It is. It's called the Jonna Berry Act.
But ironically, even after changing the law, Joan discovers there's still no match with that unknown DNA in her daughter's case. How did you find the strength to keep pushing?
And this was the most important thing in the world to me, to find out who murdered Jonna.
When it comes to this mother wanting to find answers, she would stop at nothing.
To keep her daughter Jonna's name out in the public, Joan goes on national talk shows.
Joan, what has it been like all these years?
There's no words to explain what we've gone through.
She even goes on the Montel Williams show seeking a psychic's help.
Really need to know, we need to know who did this to Jonna. We need answers.
Heartbroken warrior. That's who Joan is.
That was my prayer always, to have an answer. And I believed in my heart that God would answer my prayers.
Even if it took a while?
Mm-hmm. And one day he said, "What are you worried about? It's gonna be okay."
As the investigation into Jona's murder went on, it really expanded. Thousands of tips came in.
We would follow up with the tips that we would get. Every person that we came in contact with, we asked them to voluntarily commit to a DNA sample.
We looked into any person that we possibly could, but it was just dead end after dead end.
Then, about 2.5 years after Jonna Berry's death,
So in this lab, we actually have dual purpose.
a forensic scientist makes a key discovery.
I said, oh, wow, this might be something.
Our chief of detectives called and said that we all needed to get together. He needed to talk to us.
And he's like, get here as soon as you can.
A family still looking to track down a murderer tonight, nearly 3 years after their daughter in a UT co-ed is killed in her apartment.
The main thing that you're going on is DNA evidence.
Yes, we had the unknown DNA. It was really our only connection to the person that was connected to this crime.
We thought, will we ever have this case solved? Then the case makes a turn. Someone called in a tip after looking at the composite sketch, and they said, that looks like someone I know. And that someone is Taylor Olson.
Looks very similar.
Yes.
Taylor Lee Olson is 22 years old. He lived about 15 minutes from the crime scene, and he was known to have committed some petty crimes, also harassment, theft.
He also had an outstanding warrant for his arrest out of another jurisdiction. We arrested him, asked him about the crime.
Does he present in any way at all to you that he might have a connection to this?
He said that he didn't know anything about the crime. He voluntarily gave us his DNA.
Given that Taylor Olson only had smaller petty crimes, he didn't really fit the profile of who we were looking for.
We just thought, hey, you know, this is just another person that looks like the composite sketch.
Olson's DNA is then sent to a lab to compare it to the unknown DNA found at the crime scene.
It comes back, it is a match to the blood of that unknown person found at the crime scene.
So in this lab, we actually have dual
Jennifer
purpose.
Millsaps, the forensic scientist at the lab, made the match.
I looked at it a couple times. I wasn't too sure. I wanted to make sure that it actually was a match and I hadn't confused something. So we actually ran it twice to verify it.
That must have been a big moment.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Amazing. Probably one of the happiest moments of my life.
We were all very excited, high-fiving each other, celebrating.
Gave Brad a big hug or something because we couldn't believe it finally happened.
You get a phone call. There's a match.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing, so I said, I want to put you on the speakerphone because I wanted Mike to hear too, because I didn't trust what I was hearing. It was the blessing that God had answered my prayer.
So when we come back to town, we learn that Taylor Olson has a couple more outstanding warrants for his arrest, a burglary and a theft.
At that time, detectives don't have a warrant to arrest him for murder.
So we go into mode of looking for him and trying to locate him on those arrest warrants.
He was found, ironically, in the mall where Jonna worked, in the parking lot of the mall.
He was inside the trunk of a car. He was trying to hide from the officers. So we took him into custody.
You had your suspect.
We had a suspect. We wanted to give him an opportunity to explain why his DNA or his blood was found there in the crime scene.
What's up, Taylor? How you doing, man?
It was very important to us that he didn't have any upfront knowledge that we were going to talk to him about Jonna or the DNA.
Do you know why you're here?
Pretty much.
What for?
Guys accused me of breaking into his house and stealing a bunch of steel.
Had you ever heard about the Jonna Berry homicide case before?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd never seen Jonna Berry before?
Like, in person?
Yeah.
No, I never met her.
Detectives decide to confront Olson with the DNA evidence.
After I sent your sample off to the TBI lab, they got us a report back. It's a match for your DNA being in Jonna Berry's apartment.
Is this a joke?
No.
Like, I really don't know anything. Like,
Trust me, it's not a joke. Is there any reason that you can explain your blood being in John Berry's apartment?
my blood was in John Berry's apartment.
Right.
You serious?
Yeah.
He was very adamant that he was not there. He denied any involvement.
You think killed someone?
I'm just talking about the evidence, is what I'm talking about.
I've never killed anyone.
We knew he was there, of course, because of the blood, his DNA being there.
So we're here to give you an opportunity.
Okay.
To, tell us what happened, why you were there, and why your blood was there.
I have never been there. I don't even know killer. I haven't killed no one. I've never killed anybody. Never.
There was no doubt in my mind at that point that this was the person that we'd been looking for.
We have your blood there.
So I'm pretty much huh?
We're giving you the opportunity to explain.
I don't have an explanation.
What happened?
Finally, we were just like, hey, he's just going to keep going and going with his story, and nothing's ever going to change.
It almost seemed like he thought that he was going to get away with it.
Olson is questioned 3 days in a row. And on the final day, investigators are about to make a breakthrough.
I've been sitting out here in the hallway listening to this that you're talking about, and I'm just about sick of it. Why did you do this to this girl?
And finally he said, okay, I was there.
I can't believe this happened.
You got the knife away from that person, went kind of crazy.
Have a seat now, Chair. You want both free?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is your opportunity to tell because this is your last chance. Your last chance to get your voice out there. You tell your side of it. We already know her side.
On his third day of taped interrogation, Taylor Olson continues to deny any knowledge of Jonna Berry's murder.
Why don't you tell me what happened when you were inside?
I don't know.
He would just say, I don't have an explanation, don't have an explanation. So finally, we just said, like, enough's enough.
Taylor, I've been sitting out here in the hallway listening to this you're talking about, and I'm just about sick of it. You know what happened to this girl? Look at this. You were there. You know what happened to her? We know you were there. The evidence shows you were there. Why did you do this to this girl? Huh? Why'd you do that?
And that's when you really saw Taylor change. Like, once he saw the crime scene photo, this is what happened, this is what you did. Like, you need to talk about this.
Finally, with evidence of the crime staring him right in the face, Taylor Olson begins sharing his own account of the night of the murder.
I just didn't understand what happened. I just
Did you
thought
have
I
blood?
got too
Did you
drunk.
have blood on you? Were you cut?
I don't remember if I was cut.
Eventually, more details begin trickling in as Olson says he was out that night with a friend named Noah Cox.
Me and Noah went out and jacked a CD player out of a car. And we kind of got lost from each other. And someone came out when we were breaking into cars and yelled at us. Ran off. I don't know where the hell he was.
Now, wandering around on his own, Olson says he suddenly found himself outside Jonna's apartment.
He says he goes up back steps of Jonna and Jason Amamy's apartment.
I was looking for some keys. And then someone said, "Who are you?" or "What are you doing?" or something. And I was like, chill out. And then I just heard like a yell, and then I just felt the pain.
He goes in Jonna's bedroom. Jonna wakes up. He says they get into a confrontation and she has a knife, stabs him on the arm, fought with her over the knife.
She did fight back hard. She fought for her life. That's why the stabbing kept going on and on.
You got the knife away from that person and just went kind of crazy?
Yeah. I guess they were sleeping with it. just freaked out.
As for Jason Amami, Olson says he had no idea that another person was in the apartment.
I didn't even remember anything about the guy until the news said it was 2 people. I didn't realize everyone got hurt like that.
Did you just go in there and things just went wrong?
I really don't know her, man. I've never met her.
There's no reason for him to select that apartment other than the fact that it was the first apartment he came to that had an open door.
And Jonna, according to her mom, was a stickler for locking the door every night. Nobody knows why the door was unlocked on that night.
After nearly 3 years of unanswered questions, with investigators looking at people in Jonna's life and complete strangers alike, Olson's confession is startling. And to wind up having a random person, a break-in, nobody who's really connected to her, that's not common, is it?
No, not really. It wasn't. It was a surprise to us, and I think everybody else was kind of surprised too.
Now that Knox County detectives know Taylor Olson's full story, he prepares to tell his mom and sister the truth.
Would you rather talk to your mom on the telephone, or would you rather talk to her in person?
I'd like to see her.
She really is being a mom. You kind of have to feel for her. What's going on? What has my son done?
What happened, Tay? Taylor, I love you.
It was an accident.
Are you sure, Taylor? Taylor, I need to know. It's okay. I want to know the truth, okay?
I can tell you.
Okay. You'd rather have the train. That's okay, too. Did they offer you one?
Yeah.
When did you tell him the truth? How did that come about?
I got my bloods on the night, and my blood's like in
Then
the
why
back
did they
door.
let you go? Did they get the DNA back? Okay, and it matches? Taylor, okay. Listen, I'm gonna help you. I want to make sure that this is for real and that you did it. No, I don't know.
And at that point, you feel their brokenness over this horrific crime.
Taylor, I want you to know something. I want you to start praying because there is a God. Do you hear? And He loves you and will forgive if this is true.
I'm so sorry, Mom.
After coming clean to his family, Olson now faces the press.
Did you mean to kill her? Why'd you do it? Was it an accident? But you stabbed her 26 times.
And his look was one of complete surprise, shock, baffled.
He told reporters it was an accident.
How's that an accident? Accidents happen one time, not 20 plus. No, that angered me that it was an accident.
Well, after 33 months of wondering and waiting, Jonna Berry's parents finally came face to face with the man charged with killing their daughter.
22-year-old Taylor Olson, he's facing 7 counts, including first-degree murder.
But just as Taylor Olson is about to go on trial, he does something that utterly rocks everyone involved in the case. You finally are getting to court, and then you get shocking news.
Our top story tonight. This man, 22-year-old Taylor Lee Olson of Knoxville, is behind bars. Now, today's announcement providing some relief to Jonna's family, who have spent years and countless hours searching for her killer.
What was that like for you to see him and to come face to face with him in court?
You look at that person and it's like, I know you're not supposed to hate anybody, but I hated him.
Cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom for today's hearing, but inside, 22-year-old Taylor Lee Olson did not enter a plea when he was arraigned.
Olson faces a 7-count indictment, including 3 counts of felony murder and 1 count of first-degree murder.
They're planning for a trial, and then we get word Taylor Lee Olson is dead. He hanged himself in his jail cell.
I got a call the Monday after Easter that he had been found in his jail cell that he had fashioned a ligature with sheets.
You finally are getting to court, and then you get shocking news. He's taken his life.
When I got the news, I became very upset. I even cried.
What were the tears for?
Just tears of relief, because we don't have to fight the system.
But Joan Berry wants confirmation with her own eyes that her daughter's killer is really gone.
I called the DA's office and I said, I know you probably think I'm just a crazy old woman, but I want to see him dead, just the way I had to look at my daughter, dead.
Joan and Mike wanted that. We met in the conference room in the district attorney's office and showed them photographs of Taylor Olson's autopsy.
To some people it might sound cruel, but I think it gave me some closure.
I think that the Berrys needed to see the photos of Taylor Olson because they were deprived of the right of a trial.
Though there's no trial, the case isn't exactly over, because in writings left behind in his jail cell, Taylor Olson tries to argue his innocence from beyond the grave.
I read a bunch of letters that said, I didn't do it, and hung himself. That's a coward's admission of guilt.
Olson writes a long note called The Story, where he tries to shift blame by bringing back a familiar name.
Taylor Olson said he didn't do it and that Noah Cox, his friend, is the one who committed the crime.
Noah Cox was the individual that Taylor said he was with when they were breaking into vehicles and were separated.
In an audio recording with investigators, Noah Cox denies breaking into cars with Olson that night, and he's adamant that he was never in Jonna Berry's apartment.
Mr. Cox, were you present in the apartment when Jonna Berry was murdered?
No, sir. The whole story just really doesn't make sense.
We had talked to Noah Cox. He had submitted to a DNA sample. His DNA didn't come back as a match to the unknown sample.
There was no evidence showing that Noah Cox was ever in that apartment.
There's no other blood samples, fingerprints, nothing to indicate that anyone but Taylor was there.
Taylor Olson's partial fingerprint was ultimately found on the murder weapon. Was there any part of you that felt any sadness for the outcome?
I felt sad for his family. Two families' lives have been ruined, you know, painfully. I'll never see my daughter again. Now they'll never see their son again.
Through their pain, Joan and Mike Berry stay busy, focusing on the laws they've changed and all the victims they've helped. And now here we are at the TBI, where there is big change.
There is change.
There's now a memorial to Jonna at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's Knoxville DNA lab.
Long after we're gone, she'll still be helping others.
To be able to have made that kind of change in a state law, that must be gratifying, even in the midst of your heartbreak.
It is very gratifying, but it's also sad that this had to happen to my daughter.
And when Joan and Mike aren't tirelessly fighting for victims' rights,
every senator vote on the bill. Every senator vote has every senator voted.
You do remember that one?
August the 26th or 21st birthday.
they take time to savor the bright, wonderful memories their daughter left behind, including a note written to each of them on her high school graduation day.
I still have the letter, so I'd like to read it to you, and it says, "Dear Mom, I want to thank you for being my mom. You have always been the one I could turn to, no matter what. The only true friend that I've ever had. I only hope that someday that I'll be a mom as good as you are. I hope that I have made you proud, and I hope I will continue to make you proud in the future. I love you, your daughter, Jonna."
I love you guys.
She loved life. You know, I can still see her in her little red convertible with the top down, and her ponytail blowing in the wind.
Jonna, smile to the camera, girl.
Hey! Jonna's dead, but she's not dead in my heart. I plant flowers in her memory. Sometimes I'm outside, I think butterflies remind me of her.
So she's still with you?
She is.
Such emotional words from a mother, David. After her daughter's murder, Joan Berry actually started a support group to help families and victims of violent crime.
And Deborah, as you know, she also continues to advocate for DNA arrest laws. Today, 34 states require that DNA is collected after an arrest. That's our program for tonight. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
An all-new 2020 starts right now.
Sheriff's Office. I do smell something.
This was a slaughter. Make no mistake about it. And what did you find when you got inside?
All right, I got her feet right here. This is weird, dude. First thing I noticed was the rose petals everywhere.
Something I've never seen before. I definitely thought that whoever killed her brought those flowers in.
Now, the stunning court case making big headlines. It's the last time you talked to your sister. And then she was gone.
She's got a young daughter that's 9.
So you had to tell her that her mother was dead. And her response was, who did it?
I have great fear for my daughter's safety. Why do you think I left the country?
There's been a custody battle.
Where were you when Christina was murdered?
Italy.
But at this point, I'm getting worried about where we are. I really don't know if I want to comment more, if this is what I think it is.
Rarely do you ever have a murder where you get to see the bad guy walk through the front door.
This isn't your typical murder that you see.
When I walked in, there was a smell like a pesticide smell.
The whole thing seems surreal.
Sheriff's Office. I saw like a flower rose tore up.
Absolutely impossible.
It makes utterly no sense.
Many of us just were shocked and amazed about the capacity of someone to cause such destruction.
This was the manifestation of hate. We've come here to this quiet suburban street in South Carolina to cover one of the strangest crime stories we've ever come across. It's a story of love, betrayal, classical music, murder, a crime scene strewn with rose petals. And it all began at this house on an October morning in 2021 with a 911 call.
Grayson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Canebrake Drive. I think I might have a death. Walked into my fiance's house. She wouldn't answer my call. It was a very weird smell, and I can't get her to come around.
The man making the call is 65-year-old Bradley Post, a local retired engineer. His 41-year-old fiance is inside the house.
And he basically said he had found her and he needed help. He needed an ambulance. He needed law enforcement.
I said to revive her, what should I do?
Is she breathing?
No.
And we're going to start CPR, sir.
Okay, I think she's gone.
You think she's gone?
Yeah, because somebody might have shot in the back. I don't know. I don't
Somebody
know.
has shot her? Okay, all right.
No.
And tell me why you think she's dead.
So she won't respond. She got her eyes open.
Eyes are open? All right.
There's a lot of blood.
And a lot of blood. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they dispatched law enforcement immediately, ambulances. And so he just continued to give as much information as he could to 911.
So it looks like somebody may have broke in and shot her in the head.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, I understand.
Pull that out.
Okay.
Who the over here now?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Get somebody here now.
I've got some people coming, sir. I have everybody coming. I'm sending the paramedics to help now. Step out of the house, and that way wait for the paramedics and the police at the front of the house and leave everything as you found it.
Master Deputy Chris Robinson rushes to the scene. He's the first to arrive.
And then when law enforcement arrived, Bradley Post is standing in the driveway of the house. So he talks to Deputy Chris Robinson with his body camera on.
Hey, man.
So when you pulled up, was he just like standing there waiting for you?
Yes, ma'am. He was just kind of standing to the side over here, just waiting. He was on the phone with someone. How'd you get in the house?
You got to come home right now. Emergency. Come home. Just come home.
We just started talking briefly about what was going on inside. Basic info about when's the last time you saw her and the last time you talked to her.
She went for a job interview. Okay. She left and came back. I called her, texted
Today?
her twice. Yeah, just from like 9 o'clock. I've got her on a tracker.
Yep.
She didn't respond, so I went to the door. No response. So the back door is always unlocked.
Okay.
So I walked around the back door. When I walked in, there was a smell like a pesticide smell.
Yep.
And I walked in, and I didn't see anything on. I saw like a flower rose tore up, and then I walked in the living room, and she's laying there on her back. There is a lot of blood.
Okay. Do you live here?
No.
You stay here occasionally?
I stay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm with her most days.
All right, do me a favor, just stand right here.
You went in the back.
You want to help me clear it real quick?
And what did you find when you got inside?
So I went in with another deputy. We started clearing. Sheriff's office. I do smell something. All right, you see what we got? There's a smell in here. All right, you want to hold right, and I'll clear this on the left. We didn't know who was inside. I barely see, and I could see her feet at that point, so I kind of knew what was going on. All right, I got her feet right here in front of me. Continued clearing, made it up to her, saw that there was no signs of life. We kept moving and cleared the rest of the house. Yes, ma'am, we're clearing the house now.
Just to make sure there's no one in the house.
Correct. Pushing in. Sheriff's office. I'll take one, I'll take the other. Sheriff's office. I've been doing this 15 years, and it was pretty gruesome.
And what could you see happened?
First thing I noticed was the rose petals everywhere. I thought that was kind of weird. They were just kind of all over the floor. In no particular, not a pattern, it was just kind of everywhere. This is weird, dude. There was also a chemical odor and just a lot of blood. A lot of blood.
Could you tell that it was a stabbing or a shooting or?
I couldn't tell at that point. Our protocol is not to really touch anything. If there's no signs of human life, I don't have to render aid. We try not to contaminate the scene.
Was there anything else about that room that seemed odd to you?
You could tell there was a struggle inside the house at some point. Looked like she was pulled by her ankles or moved somehow. Let's get out of here with that smell.
And then you came back outside?
Came back outside, kind of locked the house down so nobody in or out. You just lock it down. Definitely not a death odor.
Anyway, I gotta go, Tina. Get home as soon as you can. It's the owner of the house, her sister lives here.
Okay.
Is she dead?
As far as I can tell, I'm not EMS, man. So, and this is your girlfriend?
My fiance.
Okay. What's her name?
Christina Lorraine Parcell.
Christina Parcell, a single mother of one who police quickly discover has not been shot, but has been stabbed 35 times.
We learned that she was a vet tech and that she was engaged to be married to Bradley Post. And the other residents of there were her sister, Tina Parcell, and Christina Parcell's daughter.
Son of a... She's got a young daughter that's 9.
Lead investigator Jared Sparkman arrives to the scene shortly after Deputy Robinson. When you pull up to the scene, what do you see?
There's a lot of deputies, investigators already here.
Describe to us this crime scene.
So it was very unique. First of all, you don't have many murders that are stabbings. You also see rose petals scattered around in the room where she's at. Something I've never seen before. I definitely thought that whoever killed her brought those flowers in.
People think of stabbings as really intimate, right? Did this seem like a fight, like this was a crime of passion?
That was something that crossed our mind, especially with the rose petals on the ground.
This was no ordinary murder because the nature of the crime was so close and personal, so brutal, that either somebody was really mad at this particular person or something went terribly wrong. Obviously, the first person that you want to talk to is the person that discovers the body. The fiance of the person.
He's definitely someone that we want to talk to quickly.
What was he like? Pompous. Always wanted to be the smartest person in the room or the richest person in the room, preferably both.
This 5-bedroom ranch house was home for veterinary technician Christina Parcell, her 9-year-old daughter, and her sister Tina, who says October 13, 2021 was a typical busy weekday morning.
It was just so exceedingly normal. Not a day you would have thought anything of. Never. I remember every bit of it now. She had a job interview that morning. She was trying to find a job with more hours, better pay. Did you see her that morning as she was getting ready for it? I'm finishing my morning coffee sitting on the couch. We talked just normal people things. What have you got going on today other than your interview? I've got a hair appointment. Then I think they had gymnastics that afternoon. Okay, have a great day. You too. Love you. It's the last time you talked to your sister. And then she was gone.
So Christina Parcell had a very quick interview at a local veterinarian clinic.
Hey, I'm Christina. Nice to meet you.
We actually have a video of the interview. It did not last very long.
And she texted me, she felt good, it went well. It was, talk me through your qualifications, et cetera, et cetera. It was very short.
And then she drove back, and she returned back about 9:07. And we know that because she passes by a Ring camera 3 doors down, and we see her car pass by.
Meanwhile, Tina is at her office, 20 minutes away.
I was at work, and my phone says, you have a voicemail. And it was post telling me there was an emergency at the house, and I needed to come home.
Tina, this is Brad. You need to call me quick. There's a problem with Christina at the house. Please call me now.
So I call him back, and he says, you have to get here. I think she's dead. I'm like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. I can't tell. So you race home? Absolutely race home. I get there about 11:30. They wouldn't tell me that she was actually dead for the first hour, maybe hour and a half.
It's a tragic end to a sibling relationship that survived ups and downs, beginning with an incredibly close bond.
She was younger, I was older. 2 years apart? 2 years and 4 days. Our birthdays were 4 days apart, so we would have birthday parties kind of around the same time. We were each other's best friends, basically, growing up. She was smart. She was quick-witted, and she was kind.
Her sister says Christina loved running and gifting friends with her professional-looking homemade chocolates. And she had ambitions for a new career.
She had gone back to school for nursing. She seemed exceptionally devoted to her daughter.
Christina Parcell shared custody with her ex-boyfriend, John Mello. 5 months before her death, she and her daughter had moved into Tina's home in Greer, a suburb 12 miles from the city of Greenville. Greenville, South Carolina is a city nestled in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. It's known for its southern charm, its tree-lined streets, and its vibrant art and music scene.
We're a medium-sized city. We have more cultural and artistic offerings than someone might expect to see in a city of this size. In theater, in dance, in the visual arts, in music. Classical music is very popular here in Greenville. As you walk down Main Street, you'll see street musicians.
Good things they come to those who wait. And you hear some of the best music you would hear anywhere in the world. It is a wonderful place to come and raise children. It's a very safe place.
The neighborhood where the murder occurred is usually considered a very safe neighborhood. It's a upper scale, low crime area.
And luckily we're able to solve the vast majority of our homicides. We have one of the highest clearance rates in the country.
But clearing the county's latest homicide could pose a challenge. Back at the house, police are scrubbing the crime scene for more details.
So one of the first things we do when we get there is secure the crime scene. Once it's secured, we call our forensics unit to come. With Christina, we collected her fingernails, we swabbed her hands, anywhere that DNA could have been left. Once her body is removed from the scene, we can really start searching that house for any clues and really kind of figure out what happened.
This was a slaughter. Make no mistake about it. 19 slices to the neck and face. That's personal.
Do you think she fought?
I hope like hell she fought.
Adding to the mystery, those scattered rose petals.
Were there roses in the house before? Any idea where that came from?
No, I mean, it had to have been brought by the person that was in my home.
Leading to the question, who was that person in the home? Police first want to talk to Parcells' fiance, Bradley Post.
And I saw her sunglasses in the hallway, so it looks like she was surprised somehow.
Post is a retired engineer and business owner. He and Christina Parcells had been dating for 6 years.
He'd owned several businesses and sold them, retired. He's very wealthy. He drives fancy sports cars, lives in a big house.
What was he like?
Pompous. Always wanted to be the smartest person in the room or the richest person in the room, preferably both.
You didn't like him?
No. He's very particular. He likes things the way he likes them.
Did she seem happy?
Sometimes. She was becoming less and less happy with Post and less enamored with the thought of marrying him.
2 days after the murder, once the crime scene was released, Tina and Bradley Post do a walkthrough with police.
What'd you think of him and his demeanor that day?
He was calm, he wanted to be helpful.
Anything unusual?
I remember him putting on gloves. He had on gloves when he showed up. He just said he's just trying to be careful.
Seems strange to you?
You don't see that much.
Did you find that to be weird?
No, because he was a fastidious, persnickety man. Didn't surprise me at all that he didn't want to touch anything icky.
While Tina may have found Post off-putting, it's another man she thinks police need to investigate.
I can only think of one person in the world that I would instantly think of would have interest in seeing my sister murdered.
I'm telling you, person of interest will be John Mello.
John Mello.
In the aftermath of Christina Parcells' murder, it's her sister, Tina, who's left to tell her 9-year-old niece the tragic news.
So you had to tell her that her mother was dead?
Mm-hmm. She wailed. And she was inconsolable, sobbing. I told her there had been an accident. Mommy had been hurt very, very badly, and she died. She didn't make it. And her response was, who did it?
When police talked to Christina's fiance, Bradley Post, after the murder,
tell me about this other dude.
He immediately brings up somebody he thinks should be a person of interest.
So you asked him, do you know who would do this?
Right, yeah. So I was like, do you know anybody that would be like our suspect in this or anything like that?
I'm telling you, person of interest will be John Mello.
And then he did mention John Mello's name at that point.
There's been a custody battle.
And what did he say about John Mello?
It was her ex, and they were having some issues.
with that, we started looking into John Mello.
John Mello says he's a music producer. He met Christina in 2004. He was a 43-year-old married father of 2. She was 24.
I'm not, yeah, now we got it.
Speed. Both cameras have it?
Yep.
Okay.
All good? So I guess let's start at the beginning. How did you come to meet Christina?
I met her at a cigar shop. We just became friends. She was, very intelligent, very, very beautiful, very fun, to be around. We just hit it off as people, in general.
Were you trying to have a relationship?
No, I was married. No, I just like talking to people. And throughout my life, most of my closest friends have been females. So it's just, I just, easier to look at. But no, not at all. It just kind of evolved later.
At what point did it become a romantic relationship?
I'd say 2009. Mm-hmm. My marriage was not good, so it just happens.
Mello and Christina dated for the next 6 years. So you had a discussion, decided you were going to try to have a baby?
Yes, yeah, planned it. No,
That's a little surprising to me because you were
married.
It
is to most people. Yeah, no, we planned her. She was born phenomenal, and things were pretty good at the beginning, with all that.
But while things were going well with the new baby, by then, Christina had become estranged from her sister and the rest of her family.
Between April and May of 2010, my sister cut off ties with our whole immediate family. She sent a letter to my parents, addressed it to all of us. Dear Mama, Daddy, and Tina, I am severing the ties of discontent and unhappiness that have haunted my life. Leave me to my peace and my newfound life. Please do not visit my home, do not call or email, and most importantly, please do not worry. She had been with John for a year when she sent this. She was being increasingly cut off from the world around her.
So when you started to talk to her again, how did she explain that letter?
It's what John wanted.
The estrangement would last over 4 years.
When she came back to our family, we found out she had a daughter. My niece was more than 2 when I met her the first time.
By the time the child was 3 years old, relations between Mello and Christina were breaking down. So at some point you guys end up in kind of a tough custody battle.
Yeah. Yes. She became very combative and very untrustworthy.
Child custody cases are always intense. I would say that this one is probably up there, really, like a 10 out of 10. This one is probably as intense as they ever get.
In 2016, Mello is granted sole custody. Christina, just visitation. In court documents, Mello describes what he calls her erratic behavior and lack of consistent visitation, while Christina says she's afraid of Mello and doesn't earn enough money to support her daughter.
She basically relinquished primary custody to John Mello.
In the years that follow, Mello repeatedly contacts law enforcement and the Department of Social Services about Christina, accusing her of prostitution, drug use, and even child sex abuse.
2018-ish, my daughter had come to me complaining about her mom and Brad Post. She said they made me sleep in the same bed with them and all these things. I was just like, this is not right. So I went to the Greenville County Sheriff's Department and I filed a complaint.
The investigators that handled those cases found no evidence to substantiate his claims. Law enforcement, DSS, couldn't verify any of the information.
In the course of their custody battle, Mello is arrested and charged with stalking, and then harassment, accused of repeatedly making unfounded accusations against Christina. Both charges are ultimately dismissed.
John Mello, I can tell you that a lot of people at the sheriff's office knew who he was, and he was just difficult to deal with. He would always make crazy allegations, and then when you wouldn't take him serious, he would get angry.
It's 2018 when attorney Maggie Bailey gets a visit from Christina.
She came into my office to ask about possibly representing her to help her get expanded visitation with her child. She wanted to have more overnights with the child and to be able to be a regular mother. We were successful, and she obtained more visitation.
She would do her visit weekends in my apartment. I got specifically a 3-bedroom apartment so she and my niece could stay with me and we could spend time together, go to the pool, go to the playground.
She would tell me how much she enjoyed once her time got expanded, how wonderful it was to be able to have her child overnight and spend time with her.
But then, in October 2020, the custody fight takes another explosive and, for Christina, terrifying turn.
It was time for her visit weekend, and John said, "We won't be back in time. I'll call you when I know more."
His message reads, "We are out of the country, phone not working. Be advised, we won't be able to fly back for Friday exchange. Sorry, more later."
She'd gone by John Mello's house, she'd tried to text him, she'd tried to email him, she'd tried to call him.
My sister reached out to the elementary school and found out John had withdrawn her from Greenville County School System.
She messages Mello, "Please tell me anything you can about where our daughter is. I'm scared."
She had no idea where John Mello and her daughter had gone. She was in tears because she was like, "He's taken her, I don't know where he's gone, and I may never see my daughter again."
For Tina Parcell and John Mello, there's not much room for agreement, except on one thing: the strangeness of those red roses found at the crime scene.
It's just a hell of a lot of effort to create something so theatrical and intentional and rage-filled to send a message.
Tina even keeps an eye out for a special delivery at her sister's funeral.
I had the funeral home hold every flower delivery so I could inspect them to make sure no red roses were sent, because I fully expected some to be sent.
Why?
Because that would be a mean and cruel thing to do. And let's just be honest, mean and cruel kind of fits the whole bill for the situation.
For her, the roses add to her suspicion of John Mello. She tells investigators what happened a year earlier. In 2020, the custody battle between Christina Parcell and John Mello had become an outright war after he took off with their 8-year-old daughter. Christina has no idea where she is and frantically searches social media for clues.
She just poured over the internet and looking for everything, doing all kinds of searches.
And then Mello emails Christina, "Please do not bother people about us," saying their daughter is doing great. She is happy and healthy. It's just a new setup, that's all. New rules.
Christina had no idea where her daughter or John was. She didn't know if they were in the United States or overseas.
The first clue that she got was a picture that he had posted, and it was in kind of like a courtyard. It's surrounded by buildings, and you could tell that on the building that it was in Italy. You know, she had to blow that picture up in order to try to figure out what the sign said.
John Mello took her child to Italy without any communication to Christina about their intentions. He and Christina's daughter moved to Italy permanently.
She was inconsolable. She couldn't sleep, she couldn't eat. She called county police, she called the FBI, she called the State Department.
Mello claims he took their daughter to Italy to protect her from her mother.
I have great fear for my daughter's safety, and I always have. So why do you think I left the country?
That's why you took her and you went to Italy, because you were scared for her?
Yes. I have watched her entire life, her mother be a horrific human being, provided evidence to everybody. And some people believe it, some people don't.
So when you went to Italy with your daughter, did you think that you were breaking any laws?
Absolutely not. I made certain that my custody order was written in such a way that there were no restrictions, that I do not have to have permission to leave, that the mother just has zero, absolutely no custody.
While Christina Parcell did not have full custody, she had visitation rights. She decided to attempt to get her child back through the Hague Convention.
So the Hague Convention governs international child custody disputes.
You went to Italy with your sister to get your niece.
She found out they had scheduled a hearing at essentially the equivalent of family court in Italy. And I asked her, do you want me to go with you? And she said yes. So I instantly bought us 2 round-trip tickets.
This is video from their hotel room from the day before the hearing. Christina is on the bed.
She went to Italy twice. It was the second time that the authorities in Italy handed her daughter to her and told her to take her back to the United States.
The court rules that Mello violated Christina's custody rights, even if limited, and acted against their daughter's interest. It's a victory for Christina, 6 months after Mello took their daughter out of the country.
The family court in Venice, I'm not trying to sound the way it's going to sound, but they were all women. And her mom came and put on a very good show with the tears and the whole thing. And then they decided to let her go that night.
John Mello stays in Italy while Christina heads back to South Carolina with their daughter.
So when Christina came back from Italy with her daughter, she brought her into the office and she was just like all smiles.
This is literally the day after she got back. I took her to the playground.
But just 3 months after the joy of being reunited, Christina Purcell is blindsided again.
I walked into my office one morning and my paralegal was opening the mail and she goes, look at this picture, and it was a nude picture of Christina. It was really, I would call it a pornographic picture.
It's not just her attorney who has received the mailing.
The photos were sent to our house, Post's house, all of our neighbors, all of his neighbors, Christina's work, the guardian ad litem.
And Christina Purcell knew that the only person who had possession of these photos of her was John Mello. And they were taken when they were dating back in 2010 or 2011, when she was much younger. And there was also included in there a photocopy of an escort site. And it was claiming that Christina Purcell had been posting on an escort site as a prostitute looking for business.
None of the photos were connected to the escort site. They basically took a screenshot of an escort site and then copied and pasted the URL onto some private pictures that Christina and John had shared years ago.
These packages all came from Greenville or Tennessee. And so we knew the person who sent them out or who put them in the mailbox and prepared them had to be living in the Greenville area. John Mello was in Italy.
She said, it has to be John. She said, I just don't know who he would have gotten to send it.
John Mello says he didn't arrange for the mailings to be sent out. Did you have those images mailed?
No, I did not. No, I had them from years back. And of course, my intention was when I get to the States in this custody case, judge needs to see her background. If you're in a custody case and you have photographic and internet evidence that the person in the custody case with you is prostituting online, you want the judge to see that. Yeah, I would absolutely was going to use that.
There was no evidence that suggested that Christina was a prostitute or drug dealer or escort.
2.5 months after the mailings were sent, Christina Purcell is murdered. But it turns out the man so many people seem to suspect could not have been the killer.
Where were you when Christina was murdered?
Italy. Yeah, I was in Italy.
Did you have anything to do with it?
No, of course not. No, it's not my style. You know what I mean? No.
We still were looking at Mr. Mello and people that he knew, but we did know that he's not the person that walked in the front door and killed Christina.
And then a huge turning point in the case, thanks to a neighbor's Ring camera.
Rarely do you ever get to see the bad guy walk through the front door before he engages in a horrific murder.
And a shocking arrest, but it's not what you think.
We were dumbfounded.
Police are investigating Christina Purcell's murder. Her fiancé, Bradley Post, tells them He's convinced John Mello, despite being in Italy, should be the prime suspect.
There's been a heavy custody battle. This guy's been he's a threatener, he's the thug.
Although authorities have their suspicions about Bradley Post himself, their investigation seems to be pointing away from him.
Bradley Post was extremely cooperative.
And when was the last time you spoke with her?
Hold on, I'll tell you exactly.
He said that he spoke with Christina that morning.
Last time I talked to her was 8:15 a.m. Outgoing call, 10 minutes. She was on her way to a job interview.
That they texted, and then he attempted to call her with no answer, which is the reason that he came to the house. And by looking at his phone, as well as Christina's phone, we were able to confirm that he was in fact telling the truth.
Because normally when she leaves somewhere, she'll send me a text or I'm on my way back. Right. And I didn't hear from her.
In addition, the way that he was dressed and the way he appeared in pristine condition, freshly showered, in a sports coat, a white shirt, slacks, not somebody that had just committed a horrific murder.
Even though he expresses some nervousness, Post continues to work with police.
But at this point, I'm getting worried about where we are. I really don't know if I want to comment more. I want to help you, but if this is what I think it is,
that's fine.
But then investigators stumble upon what they claim is evidence of an entirely different crime.
Okay.
Bradley Post agreed to allow us to look at his phone. He signed a consent form, a waiver. He gave us his password. We weren't expecting to find anything, but while reviewing his phone, we found some material that resulted in him being arrested for criminal sexual conduct with a minor.
An upstate man facing several charges of sexual exploitation with a minor will remain behind bars.
Investigators say they found sexually explicit images of children in Post's possession.
According to court documents, Post had a high volume of child pornography on his phone and electronic devices. He has not yet entered a formal plea to those charges.
I was personally dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that he just handed over that evidence. For these alleged crimes, he could spend the rest of his life in prison.
So although Bradley Post is now facing some serious charges, police still don't think he's the person who killed Christina Parcell. And they now have a critical clue in the hunt for who did. As you start to go looking for evidence, what's the first thing that you do outside of the home?
Cameras.
Cameras.
Look for cameras, yes.
So where were the first cameras that you found?
Well, the first camera was actually right here behind you. There's a Ring doorbell camera.
The camera is from the house directly across the street from where Christina Parcell lived. And so you get that camera. What do you see on that camera?
So that camera, it shows a person walking up the steps and going into the house.
We were extremely lucky. The Ring camera across the street was highly sensitive to cars driving by, and a white Ford Explorer drove by at the exact moment that the individual was walking up the stairs and through the front door of the house at exactly 9:15.
So if that vehicle hadn't driven by at that moment, you wouldn't have seen who walked in the house?
That's right.
We were able to enhance the video. You can actually see the gray sweatshirt, the black pants, the build of the individual, an individual walking up through the front door, getting ready to commit a horrific murder.
We continued canvassing the whole neighborhood and came across some cameras that showed someone wearing the same type clothing, same stature, leaving the area.
The next evidence we have of this individual is a Ring camera down the street, and it shows an individual on a black bike dressed in a black sweatshirt, black pants, with a N95 mask over their face, leaving on the bike at exactly 9:27.
We believe that the suspect was in that house for about 12 minutes.
Then at 9:28, we see the same individual passing a house in the exact same clothes on a black bike.
They were wearing dark clothes. It was a nice day that day. Long sleeves, pants, it's just odd. And it was our first real clue.
The Ring camera offers another important development. While investigators don't know who the mysterious man is, they are now confident of who it isn't.
After we found the cameras in the neighborhood, Bradley Post was ruled out. The build wasn't the same. It was pretty obvious that Bradley Post's stature does not match the stature of the person that went into that house.
We were able to determine that Bradley Post could not have committed this crime.
The next order of business, finding the man on the bike.
So finding the person on the bicycle was a tall order.
Turns out the man on the bike will not remain a mystery for long.
At the point you heard there was a suspect, were you surprised?
Police zero in on somebody you'd never expect. Will this finally explain the crime and those odd rose petals?
We had no suspects, and then with a click of a button, it's like, well, we just figured out who did it. Felt like I just won the lottery.
The rose petal case was just a wild ride. So many twists and turns.
The manifestation of hate wrought upon a physical body.
We still felt with the child custody dispute, there's motive.
Where Zach Hughes began inserting himself into this custody battle.
You don't think Zach is a killer?
There's just no way. The guy's heart is as big as the moon.
We started receiving calls that we had arrested the wrong person.
It makes utterly no sense.
And there is proof to that the state is hiding from you.
Instruct him to be quiet.
If there's no malice, there's no murder.
How is that not murder?
It was as close to a Matlock moment as you're gonna get.
Either you had some part of this, or you were caught in the craziest murder case that any of us have ever heard of.
Graceville County 911 was your emergency.
I just walked in, my fiance. It looks like she's bled out on the floor.
Is she breathing?
No. I think she's gone. A lot of blood. The flowers here, it looks like somebody must have come here.
After Christina Parcell is stabbed to death in the house she shares with her 9-year-old daughter and her sister Tina, investigators piece together camera footage from around their neighborhood that provides critical details about the person who did it.
The Ring camera across the street that caught the suspect going into the house was huge.
Our immediate suspects were Bradley Post, because he was Christina's fiance and found her deceased, and John Mello, because they had a previous relationship and had a child together. From the Ring and security camera footage in the neighborhood, we learned that our suspect appeared to be male, tall and slender with very good posture, and arrived on a bike.
It was pretty obvious that Bradley Post's stature does not match the stature of the person that went into that house. And John Mello was in Italy at the time, so we know he's not the person that walked into the door.
With Bradley Post and John Mello ruled out as the killer, investigators are working overtime to figure out who the man on the bike is.
We had been working, I don't even know how many hours a day. We had no suspects. Everywhere we were turning, we were just running into dead ends.
Given John Mello's solid alibi, investigators decide to dig a little deeper into his circle of friends and acquaintances.
We still felt like we need to talk to people that know him.
Why?
He's not the one that killed her, but from the information we had with the child custody dispute, we just felt like there's motive there.
We learned that an individual named Michael Manigault worked for John Mello and would clean his house.
So we found Mr. Manigault and we spoke with him.
Like Bradley Post, Michael Manigault does not match the Ring camera footage of the man recorded entering the Parcell house.
When we were able to blow up the footage, we were able to tell the person we were looking for was white. Mr. Manigault is African American.
But when investigators ask Manigault what he knows about Christina's death, he gives them a new name.
Tell me again how you heard about Christina. A mutual friend of me and John, Zach Hughes. He said about a week and a half ago that Christina had been stabbed to death.
He goes on to tell us that Zach Hughes cleans John Mello's house with him.
Is this him? Is this Zach? Yes, that's it.
At that point, we start looking into Zach Hughes, find out who he is.
Master Deputy Wolf, he did just a basic internet search. There's YouTube video of Zachary Hughes.
The videos are from a virtual concert series Hughes did with a local museum and posted on his YouTube channel.
Zach is a pretty extraordinary musician.
I noticed that he's a pianist, and there's a lot of articles about him and his accomplishments. I was very surprised. He had no criminal record. I couldn't even find a speeding ticket.
How does Zachary get around? You said old truck or something?
Yeah, old truck. He picks me up on some.
Once I have his name, I can pull up every vehicle you have with your license plate within 10 minutes.
We're able to learn that he in fact owned a gold Ford truck.
Investigators discover a crucial clue not far from downtown Greenville. If you look up there, you'll see a camera. That's called a flock camera. It's an automated license plate reader that alerts law enforcement if a wanted vehicle is detected.
A little after 2 p.m. on the day of Christina's murder, there's a picture of his vehicle coming into the downtown area with a black bike in the bed of his truck.
And that bike matched the exact description of the bike that we had on the ring cameras of the individual leaving the Canebrake neighborhood.
The handlebars were the same, the brakes were in the exact same place, the frame was the same. Felt like I just won the lottery.
With all that information, we really honed in on Zachary Hughes as our main suspect.
We get a search warrant for Zach Hughes' residence where he's staying. When we all get there, it's almost like Zach was waiting on us. He comes out calm, puts his hands up, and he backs up towards my direction. I put handcuffs on him.
Anybody else in the house?
Yes, sir.
He never asked why we were there or what we were doing.
I set him in the back of Investigator Wolf's car, and he stayed there while we executed the search warrant.
We obviously want his cell phone. We're looking for the bicycle. We knew Christina Parcell had been stabbed, so we're looking for any objects that could have done that. They have a detached garage at this property, and then we were able to find the exact bike that is on the flock picture in the bed of his truck.
The bike had been washed or cleaned before we were able to locate it. It was in absolute pristine condition.
Investigators don't have enough yet to make an arrest, so they let Zach Hughes go, but not before obtaining a sample of his DNA.
Her fingernails were broken, which made us think she fought back. So we believed that DNA could possibly be under her fingernails of her killer.
While they wait for the DNA results, authorities are trying to determine just how close Zach Hughes and John Mello really are.
How did you come to know Zach?
I was walking with my daughter down Main Street, and we were just a couple of weeks away from moving full-time to Italy, and he was playing piano on the street. And so he finished, and he said hello to her, and she said hello, and she says, "Do you know Claire de Lune?" And he played Claire de Lune, and it was fantastic. And then days later, he was in a different location by Falls Park playing, and we chatted quite a while and exchanged contact information, and that was it. And then we left, not long after that.
Mello says that once he takes his daughter to Italy, he loses touch with Hughes for a few months. But after Christina Parcell wins her case to bring their daughter back to the United States, he says the two men reconnect.
I was unbelievably sad and distraught, and I reached out to him and I told him what was going on, because he was just like, "Oh my God, not your little girl."
You don't think Zach is a killer?
There's just no way. The guy's heart is as big as the moon, and what would his motive be?
Even while investigators are zeroing in on Hughes, prosecutor Walt Wilkins has the same question.
Why would Zach Hughes go kill somebody for John Mello? And if you do that for your friend, you must either be a really good friend or a really scary person.
Do you think I could talk him into doing something like that for free? Throwing his life down the toilet? At his age?
I don't know what to say about Zach.
love him. He's one of my best friends. Because I think he has the ability to become one of the greatest pianists of our century.
Zach Hughes. You know, a lot of people don't know who he is and kind of what his background is. How did he end up in Greenville?
He was born in California. When he was roughly 10, 11 years old, his family moved to Virginia on a small farm. They lived in Virginia until he was a teenager. Then they moved to the upstate of South Carolina. His parents could see an aptitude for music, so his dad bought him a piano at a yard sale for $300. And that's where he started. And over the course of his childhood, he just developed a passion for it, became very good at it.
Like when you say good at it, like prodigy good?
He consistently did things that were very extraordinary. He begins to compete in very prestigious music festivals. And he decided to apply for Juilliard and was accepted in 2010.
Juilliard is one of our most prestigious conservatories for musicians. To be received into the program suggests that a young artist is at the top of his or her game.
I met Zach in 2011 at Juilliard, and very quickly we decided to build some projects and he started playing my music. I always felt Zach treating everyone with this equal, profound kindness. He was devoted to his friend, devoted to his parents, devoted to everyone he was meeting, basically. In 2013, Zach came to Paris especially to premiere my first sonata, which was called Sonata Mystica at the Oratoire du Louvre, which is a rather famous place in Paris. And it was a huge success.
As seen here in a video posted on YouTube, Zach Hughes graduates from Juilliard in 2015. He spends a season with the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra before eventually settling in Greenville, South Carolina, amid its thriving local arts and music scene.
We've always punched above our weight, artistically, you might say, here in Greenville. In 2020, someone had contacted me to tell me about this young pianist who was going to attempt a really ambitious project, playing all 32 of Beethoven's piano sonatas in the space of a year. He called his project the Beethoven Odyssey.
Zach Hughes posted videos of the Beethoven Odyssey on his YouTube channel.
He was playing them by heart, and that was very, very impressive.
Together, they span 600 pages and more than 11 hours of music. I thought, based on his YouTube videos, as well as seeing him perform live and in person, that here was a young man with a very bright future ahead of him as a musician.
During the COVID pandemic, Zachary Hughes could often be found here in downtown Greenville with his keyboard, sharing his Juilliard training and his love of Beethoven with the community.
He started off doing some concerts live, but then when COVID hit, he was doing some busking down in downtown Greenville. And one day, a man walked up to him and asked if he would take a request.
That man, of course, is John Mello, and this chance encounter is the start of their friendship.
It was a pretty strong friendship from what I understood.
It was in May of 2021. Zach actually goes to Italy to visit John Mello. What's that trip about?
Mello said, why don't you recharge your batteries and just come over and visit.
I go, come to Italy. I go, I got a recording. I could use you. So he came, and we rehearsed a lot and spent a lot of time together. He's just a really very well-educated, very articulate, very fun, kind person. And we just really hit it off.
Cemented by the time in Italy, their connection continues when Zach Hughes returns home to South Carolina.
Zach began doing yard work, just odds and ends around the house to help him out.
Had he ever met Christina?
Not once. How would he ever have an occasion to meet her?
But investigators are starting to believe that Zach Hughes did, in fact, meet Christina Parcell on at least one occasion. And they say they've now got the evidence to prove it.
The DNA results came back as Zach Hughes' DNA was under the fingernails of Christina Parcell. And so as a result, we were able to get a warrant for his arrest. And he makes the decision to turn himself in.
Typically, the people that we deal with for murders, they don't wear suits, they're not pianists. For us, this is just all very unusual.
He just sat there. He wasn't rude, but he just had no emotion.
And then after that, we took him to our detention center and booked him.
This man locked up tonight, charged with murder.
We started receiving calls that we had arrested the wrong person.
And at a bond hearing for Zach Hughes, the courtroom is packed with supporters insisting that he's not capable of murder.
As a mother, I know him, and I have no doubt that Zach had any part of this.
We were convinced that we had the correct person and that he just made everybody believe he was something that he wasn't.
Ultimately, the judge denies Hughes' bond, and now it's up to the state of South Carolina to prove to a jury that this 29-year-old piano virtuoso is also a cold-blooded killer.
John Mello had a problem. He had a custody problem, and Zach Hughes solved the problem for him.
And prosecutors now think they have evidence implicating Mello in the murder.
There was a text exchange between you and Zach where you asked him, how's the music research going?
Right, yeah. On the day of the murder.
On the day of the murder.
It was two musicians discussing the music project.
So were the men discussing music or murder? Three years after Christina Parcell's murder, Zachary Hughes' trial begins. Family and friends pile in here to the Greenville County Courthouse to see if this accomplished musician might also be a killer.
We will now begin the trial. Stay.
The state intends to prove that Zachary Hughes did in fact murder Christina Parcell. Typically in opening statements, you want to lay out a little bit of a roadmap for the jury. Christina Parcell had been going through a very tremendous child custody dispute with John Mello. Zach Hughes began inserting himself into this custody battle at the behest of John Mello. And the evidence will show that Zach Hughes is a cold-blooded killer. Your Honor, the state calls Bradley Post.
One of the first witnesses to take the stand, clad in an orange jail jumpsuit, is Christina Parcell's fiancé, Bradley Post. Prosecutors want to ask him about that morning he found her dead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Post. Where do you currently reside?
Greenville County Detention Center.
Prior to the start of the trial, the judge ruled that jurors would not be allowed to hear that investigators had allegedly found a high volume of child pornography on Post's electronic devices, or that he was facing charges of sexual exploitation of a minor.
Child pornography is extremely prejudicial. I mean, nobody in America thinks that that's okay. But the purposes of us being there was to determine whether Zach Hughes murdered Christina Parcell. When you arrived, what did you do?
I went to the front door and rang the doorbell. She didn't answer. I walked in through the back door. I saw her on her back.
When you saw her on her back, was there a lot of blood around the room?
Yes.
The medical examiner testifies to just how violent the attack appeared to be.
What jumped out at you in your finding?
There were 35 sharp force injuries to Ms. Parcell. And then based on the appearances of the wounds, it is most consistent with the knife being used.
The chipped thumb fingernail, something that really stood out to me on scene.
Why does that stand out to you?
Broken fingernails can be a sign that the person tried to defend themselves.
Next, a court-appointed attorney for the child in the custody dispute takes the stand to address the conflict that prosecutors say is at the heart of this case.
What findings did you make as to the lengths that Mr. Mello would go to get custody?
He was very clear that there was nothing off limits. This was the worst case I've ever worked on as far as representing a child's interest.
At the time of the murder, remember, John Mello was still in Italy, and that, prosecutors say, is why Mello needed Zach Hughes.
When John Mello left for Italy, they began using WhatsApp to communicate with each other. After Christina Parcell was able to retrieve her child from Italy and return back to the United States, their communications increased by 10,000%.
When we downloaded Mr. Hughes' phone, we obtained over 1,700 WhatsApp messages between Mr. Hughes and John Mello.
But because Zach Hughes had deleted those encrypted WhatsApp messages before authorities got his phone, when they were able to retrieve them, they came back scrambled.
The longer ones, obviously, we couldn't make sense out of, but some of the shorter ones, you can determine what they said.
City States 184. You recognize that?
Yes, sir. This is a message from John Mello. It says, harass of her 5142. We can the out. I believe he's providing Christina's phone number, which ends in 5142. He's saying harass out of her.
When I spoke to John Mello prior to Zach Hughes' trial, he told me about sending this message.
They had the text of me saying, to Zach, oh, I got a private phone, her cell number, use it, harass, whatever kind of thing. But his response was, no, I'm not going to get in trouble for you.
But prosecutors argue at trial, this is when John Mello convinced Zach Hughes to help him in that alleged campaign of harassment against Christina, sending those explicit photos from a supposed escort website.
We were reviewing the Gmails of John Mello and Zachary Hughes. And inside, there was an email that came from Mullen Investigations, which we believe to be John Mello, because we couldn't ever find Mullen Investigations, and included 2 of the photos of Christina Parcell in a state of undress that were found in those envelopes.
The most significant communication between the 2 men, prosecutors say, was their last WhatsApp message sent just hours after Christina Parcell was killed.
October 13th, 2021, that did research on music, how go. At 2:53 p.m., the message reads, phone over, tell you good, the owl. The question John Mello asked about how the music research was going, to me, I thought they were speaking in code for killing Christina.
There was a text exchange between you and Zach where you asked him, how's the music research going?
Right, yeah. On the day of the murder.
And some people think that could be code for how did the murder go?
Okay, yeah, I know that's what they're thinking. It was 2 musicians discussing the music project he was working on. It's simple as that. That's what it is.
The prosecutors have one more damning piece of evidence against Hughes to put before the jury.
The cherry on top was the DNA evidence. Zach Hughes had no business being in Christina Parcell's house that day. They had no prior relationship, and his DNA under her fingernails slammed the door on this case.
With the state's case laid out, it's now the defense's turn. And in a twist, they announce Zach Hughes will be taking the stand.
Please state your name for the record.
Zachary David Hughes.
And what he tells the jury catches prosecutors and just about everyone else in the courtroom off guard.
There is proof to that the state is hiding from you.
Your Honor, instruction to be quiet.
Why did you feel like it was important for you to be there?
Part of me feels like by being there every day, every minute of this trial, maybe she got to be there too. Courtroom 8 got fuller and fuller as days went on.
So we're standing outside the courtroom right now. It has been quite a sight, to say the least.
State rest, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Now it's our turn. We are honored and privileged to be representing Zach.
Zach Hughes' defense team opens with a bombshell, announcing not only will Hughes take the stand, but he's prepared to confess to killing Christina Parcell.
Zach has been waiting for this opportunity. He's been waiting and wanting to tell you why. You're going to hear that this was done for a just cause.
We didn't know exactly what he was going to say and how he was going to do it and for what purpose.
Please state your name for the record.
Zachary David Hughes.
Hughes first describes how he met John Mello and learned the details of the contentious custody battle that Mello was in with Christina. He says Mello told him that he was worried for his daughter's safety. And in an attempt to help, Hughes admits he was the one who mailed those envelopes with the explicit pictures of Christina.
You sent multiple mailers beginning in June and going into July of 2021, is that correct?
Yes, I did. I wanted different people, such as the Guardian Ad Litem, to have access to this information that clearly demonstrated that Christina Parcell was a danger to children and her own daughter.
I'm curious why the concern for this child, a child that he doesn't really know that well.
Well, he got to know the child somewhat. I think Zach is just naturally a caring person, just in general. Another point was Christina Parcell's fiance was a man named Brad Post. And Zach was convinced that Christina Parcell was going to allow him to harm her.
At the beginning of October 2021, did you conclude that you had to rescue and there was no other way?
Yes, I did. I had been wrestling with this since June, feeling that I needed to do something to save her, and yet feeling this incredible reluctance to do the one thing that I knew would save her because of how terrible I knew it would be to do it.
It's extremely rare for a defendant to get up there and admit to killing somebody in cold blood, almost as if he was doing something for the sake of humanity.
I had prayed like I'd never prayed before.
He testified it was something he just felt like he had to do to protect that child, but every fiber of his being was fighting him. When you arrived at the house, what did you do?
I laid my bike down in the driveway. I took a bunch of roses, and I walked up to the door and I rang the doorbell.
According to Hughes, those roses found at the scene that caused so much speculation were nothing more than a ruse, and along with the flowers, he also had a gun.
A woman came to the front, so I told her that I had a delivery for Lutina Parcell, her sister. And she told me that Lutina wasn't home. So I handed her the roses, and I took the revolver out and I pointed it at her, and I told her to be quiet and to go back into the house. She began to try to fight back, and during this period of time, the roses had dropped and the petals and stems had scattered. So I pulled out the knife I was wearing, and it just kept striking her until finally we fell on the floor, and I stopped striking her when she stopped struggling.
Zach Hughes says that he knew he didn't have time to clean up all of the now scattered rose petals.
And I looked in a mirror before I left, and I saw that she had scratched my face in the struggle. And of course I realized that this could leave DNA. So I used the paint thinner to try to clean her hands.
I do smell something.
The paint thinner Hughes brought with him explains that odd smell the responding officer noticed.
That's true.
But even after his detailed testimony, Zach Hughes' defense attorneys insist that he is not guilty of murder.
Murder is defined in South Carolina as the killing of another with malice aforethought. Malice is defined as having a dark heart, a wicked and depraved heart. Zach did this without malice. If there's no malice, there's no murder.
He planned this. He had a gun and a knife. He basically lied to get into the home, and then he stabbed this woman. How is that not murder?
It's very important to understand the motive. The entire motive behind what he did was to save this child, period.
And the defense had argued that there were serious abuse allegations against Christina Parcell herself, and that jurors should hear them. The judge ruled those accusations were irrelevant and inadmissible, but that didn't stop Zach Hughes from repeatedly making them during his testimony.
As soon as I left the house, I felt the most enormous wave of relief wash over me, because I knew from that moment on to be safe from the sexual abuse that her mother was perpetrating on her. And there is proof to that the state is hiding from you.
Instruct him to be quiet.
Okay, you need to stop talking. That was his third sort of outburst, I believe, which I was able to strike from the record. We don't know the circumstances surrounding Christina Parcell and her child and their relationship with Brad Post. And as far as this case is concerned, it does not matter. Assuming it's all true, Christina Parcell doesn't deserve to die the way that she did.
Investigators say it's also important to note that nobody knew of the allegations against Bradley Post until his arrest after Christina Parcell's murder.
Zach had never met Christina. The only thing that Zach knew about Christina was what he got from John Mello.
We found no evidence that Zachary Hughes knew anything about Bradley Post's alleged behavior prior to the murder.
But Zach Hughes' testimony isn't over yet, and there's one more bombshell to come.
I was shocked and insulted.
It was as close to a Matlock moment as you're going to get.
In this Greenville County Courthouse, classical pianist Zach Hughes has a rapt audience as he takes jurors step by step through how he says he killed Christina Parcell.
Did you take Christina Parcell's life?
Yes.
He made me think he just rehearsed it all, which he is a performer. I felt like he was trying to put on a performance.
So I just kept striking.
And if a confession from the witness stand wasn't shocking enough, Hughes drops another bombshell, testifying that his friend and Christina Parcell's ex, John Mello, offered to pay him on 2 separate occasions to kill her.
He asked me, would I be willing to kill Christina Parcell for $10,000?
It was as close to a Matlock moment as you're going to get.
I told him, John, there's no amount of money that would ever tempt me to do something like this. The only way I would ever consider taking action like this is if I was absolutely convinced that his daughter was not only in danger, but that the only way to rescue her from that danger would be to take Christina Parcell's life.
We reached out to John Mello about these allegations right after Zach Hughes' testimony, and he told us, quote, "It never happened."
I was incredulous to the absurdity of his statements, that he is going to sit there and decide when somebody gets to live or somebody gets to die based on his own personal judgments. That is absolutely absurd.
Before he made the decision to do this, did he have any physical proof that this child was in harm's way?
So I would say he did. He knew it with the information he had received from John Mello, with the documents he had received.
Zach Hughes says he also had the chance to see Christina's daughter while he was visiting John Mello in Italy, and Mello spoke to her over Zoom.
He said that he could notice a profound change in her demeanor. The light went out of her eyes. So there were other things like that that corroborated what he believed.
Now, after a full day of testimony, it's the prosecutor's turn to question Zach Hughes.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime for a prosecutor. I have the ability to cross-examine a confessed murderer, but you have to understand the position that I was in. Zachary Hughes was stating things on his direct examination that he was ordered by the court not to say. The battle in his mind was telling this jury information that they had no business hearing. And so I came up with a strategic decision to ask one question.
Mr. Hughes, when you dragged Christina Parcell across the floor of the front room where you killed her, did you drag her by her arm or by her ankle?
I don't remember for certain, but I think by the ankle.
That's all the questions I need to ask this, Your Honor.
And I left Zach Hughes with the inability to say what he really wanted to say.
We are about to begin closing arguments.
He confessed to killing Christina Parcell, but that in and of itself does not make him guilty of murder. The state must prove beyond a reasonable doubt malice. That is the intent, the knowledge, the mental part of murder.
Just because Zachary Hughes' heart is so cold and so dead that it can't be angry, that is not a defense. Vigilante justice is not allowed in this state. The evidence is absolutely overwhelming. I'm going to ask you to find Zach Hughes guilty.
The case is now in the hands of the jurors, one of whom was this man, David Collins.
He confessed to the crime of taking Christina's life. None of us could believe what we were hearing. I was actually wondering why we were in the courtroom and having a trial.
After less than 3 hours of deliberations, the jury returns with a verdict.
Your Honor, as to the charge of murder, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
I don't understand how you could stab someone 30 times and be in a struggle with them without malice in your heart. He was trying to play God, and he was trying to play the judge, and he was trying to play the executor.
Before sentencing, Zach Hughes' father speaks to the court.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the opportunity to speak a few words on my son's behalf. He has such a strong moral compass and a desire for the truth that sometimes he actually hurts himself. I love my son. I'm proud of my son. Thank you, Your Honor.
Zachary David Hughes, you're to be committed to the State Department of Corrections for life.
The question now, will John Mello be the next person charged in this case?
Are you worried they're going to arrest you in connection with this murder?
Please state your name for the record.
Zachary David Hughes.
Zach Hughes' unexpected courtroom testimony has now put the spotlight back on John Mello, prompting investigators to take action.
We discussed all the evidence we had against John Mello already, and then with Mr. Hughes' new statements, we believed there was enough to move forward with charges.
John Mello is charged with solicitation to commit a felony and accessory before the fact of murder.
Based on the nature of these charges and the situation involved in this case, I am going to no bond you.
One of the people in attendance at tonight's bond court hearing was Christina Parcell's sister.
You did this to your family. Your child has to know that you did this.
When I sat down with John Mello before Zach Hughes' trial, I asked him about the allegations swirling around him that he was somehow involved in this murder.
Are you worried they're going to arrest you in connection with this murder?
2 years I've been here, did everything, DNA, fingerprints, they talked about the telephone and the messages and what. There's nothing there.
But either you had some part of this, or you were caught in the craziest murder case that any of us have ever heard of.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I'm caught up in it. All I did was try to do the right thing.
Did you have anything at all to do with the murder of Christina Purcell?
No, absolutely not. No.
We reached out to John Mello's attorney, but he declined to answer our questions and says he looks forward to his day in court. Mello has not yet entered a formal plea to these charges.
Do you think in some ways that Zach was manipulated by John Mello?
Zach is an extremely intelligent person. He's a very disciplined person. He's not going to be manipulated by a person.
There should be justice. People should be held accountable for their actions, for willfully, willingly, cruelly hurting people in this world, whether you know them or not, whether they're family or not, whether you love them or not.
My lasting impression of this case is it was tragic. It was a heinous crime. It didn't have to happen.
And at the center of this tragedy, an innocent little girl left without her mother. Christina's daughter has been temporarily placed with friends of John Mello upon his request, following a family court ruling. Her aunt Tina is currently fighting for custody of her.
Your niece. What do you want for her?
The same thing I've always wanted for her. My job is for her to be safe, healthy, and happy, specifically in that order. She deserves better than this.
Remembering her sister tonight and with hopes for her niece. And we should also note tonight that Zach Hughes has now appealed his conviction.
And David, as for John Mello and Bradley Post, both men remain in jail awaiting trials. That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir from all of us here at 2020 and ABC News. Good night.
Yaad pore
लावे मिलिए आ सजना गल लाला मिलिए करिए वे दूर चंदेनू दिल दा मैरम ना कोई मिलिया मैं मस्कीन बंदेनू दिल दा मैरम ना कोई मिलिया मैं मस्कीन बंदेनू बुलबुल में रोंदी वेखी एक बुलबुल में रोंदी वेखी कर कर याद बहारा कर कर याद बहारा किसे के आना रोनी बुलबुल फिर खिलसन गुलजारा किसे के आना रोनी बुलबुल फिर खिलसन गुलजारा जिन्हां वे दुखां विच दिल बरड़ा दे सुख दयो ना तुम्हारे दुख वे कबूल मोहम्मद बख्शा राजी रहन प्यारे दुख कबूल मोहम्मद बख्शा राजी रहन प्यारे जिस रस्ते पर दिल बर होवे जिस रस्ते पर दिल बर होवे मिले आवाज न जाना मिले आवाज न जाना सोने सोने मिलन हजारा असानी यार बचाना सोने सोने मिलन हजारा असानी यार बचाना आसां दी गलियां मवे आगे आसां दी गलियां मवे आगे नहीं वे मुनासिब करनी मीठी खीर पकावे मोहम्मद कुते आया के थरनी मीठी वे खीर पकाए मोहम्मद कुते आया के थरनी बच गई शीशी अतरा वाली भज गई शीशी अतरा वाली ना तुरनी ना भरनी अखियां दा जद नूर ना रेया फेर किए लग करनी अखियां दा जद नूर ना रेया फेर के लग करनी सावण चढ़िया जोर लगाया ओ सावण चढ़िया वे जोर लगाया वे उड़ गई रेत नमानी तू किया रुड़दी वे रेत निमानी मेरे मुसाफिर पानी तू किया रुड़दी वे रेत निमानी मेरे मुसाफिर पानी सारी उम्री कोई ना लगी नेड़े गई जवानी आए अपने मां कोई नहीं लगी नेड़े मानी दा कब पानी देना भर भर मशीना दे भर भर मशीना दे मालिक जाना फल निगाना गावे आना गावे मालिक जाना फल निगाना गावे आना गावे गावे आना गावे गावे आना गावे